for sure, we studied a lot of sci-fis, a lot of European sci-fis, like how this has been done, like what were the budget levels and what is achievable from the production side. And we but we always were very humble, about trying to make, like the next Blade Runner, or stuff like this, because we didn't feel that we could even, like, touch the stars. So we've been looking more like to the a little bit smaller, more like a clever, yeah, to the smaller movies that are based on like one specific idea, and they really, they do 360 around this idea, and really this, trying to discover deeply what does it mean, where does where does it push the society, etc. So these were mostly things like, maybe Her by Spike Jonze comes to mind, or Ex Machina. Uh, this kind of movies where I really felt that what is working is you are kind of archaeologist, and you are discovering by every minute you learn something new about the world. And I love learning, so uh, that felt like there is this very special pacing in these movies where you get basically like a lot of exposition, but you get the exposition throughout the whole movie, right? The exposition kind of never stops. And I felt like this is something that, this idea that we had is just, begging to is just the right direction to go. I'm a big fan of those big blockbuster Hollywood movies. I love these experiences as well as smaller movies. So to me, okay, I was privileged to do a sci-fi, which is really like not that common, and so I felt like I have this chance to give the audience this experience. And I feel that when you go to the cinema, you pay for the ticket, it's something that you expect, and if you wouldn't get it, you would be, let down. So we felt like we have to provide this, and we never knew uh, if it is gonna work. We were never really sure, because it all feels like so far ahead with the premiere of the movie. How are we really able to tackle the VFX, and are they really look great, and or maybe it's just in our minds. And of course the budget is, 100 times smaller than those movies that we are trying to match. So uh, it was really kind of a leap of faith for everybody. For me, in the sound, I think, and this is something I'm not proud of, and my, sound designers and mainly sound mixers hate me for that. But I always want to be really like in the world. I want to hear a lot of stuff around me, and when there is, blustering wind, I really want the wind to, go into my ears, and the dialogues and stuff that all many times it clashes together, is for me, of course it's important to understand what we should know from the movie. But I'm also, if there is that, and it's already like written in the script, there is some dialogue that it's not important for the plot itself, but it's just a thing that you would hear, like maybe it's some radio or something like that. And I'm okay with having this part of the audio to be, overwhelmed by some other audio that is coming, from the new scene is coming, new area or something like that. And so I always want to feel like very real. Like very often in your life you don't also hear everything and understand everything. In cinema it's tricky because, you know there is a trouble that every cinema sounds different. So you have to kind of find the sweet spot, right? Like you have to make sure that what needs to be understood is understood, and at the same time, what needs to be heard loudly and really transport you to some different place. It works that way. So it's a tricky thing. And of course, then comes the music. Like I'm a big John Williams fan, and I love this kind of classical orchestral suites. And I wanted in a way to incorporate this into the movie, which of course you have to be reasonable because the movie is not superhero movie, or it's not a very heroic movie, let's say. Uh, so I wanted to have certain themes for certain characters that would intervene, but at the same time, it's still kind of pumping thriller. So you are using more, let's say, current techniques, how to work with the music. So there was this blend of, of course, you are influenced by Johan Johansson's work, and so it was from the beginning. It was set like kind of a blend of like, let's have these John Williams style melodies for the characters, so you can get some interesting emotional or plot development cues. But at the same time, how can we make it thrilling at the parts where the movie should be thrilling? So there was something that I wanted from my music composer to do, and I think he tackled it great. And it's interesting about this movie is that a lot of the main crew are film debutants. It's their first big movie, and I think that allowed it to be what it is, because I wanted somebody who for each of the most important parts of the crew, I wanted somebody who doesn't bring this burden, of past experience. Like it should be done this way because this is the right way to do it. I wanted everybody to really discover and to feel very open to anything, because we are trying to achieve something that it's not common in our country or in our region to do. So we cannot use the traditional techniques, let's say, or something that usually works, because this movie is just very different. And if we would do it in a way that we know it's gonna work, then it's not gonna be new. So that was my approach, and it paid off so well, because everybody was trying to prove themselves at the same time. So everybody was putting 150% of their energy to this movie, and yeah, that felt very good. Yeah, from the beginning it was a female character. uh there has been some new powers trying to change that. Like let's see, probably just kind of let's see as a test, like how would the movie work if it was a male character. But we never got to the point that we would really rewrite it, even though just for test purposes, which might have been fun, I don't know. But yeah, for me, I mean, I have a very strong independent mother, and to me, uh I'm always extremely attracted to strong female characters, and I just find the movie so interesting to kind of look at some problems from their perspective. And I feel like maybe it's maybe it's subliminal, like maybe James Cameron movies influence that as well. Uh, so yeah, it was something that I wanted to do. And also we started to write this movie at around 2015, and it was just the perfect time for that, because now we have the wave, right? The big wave, the tsunami of female empowerment and character, and that's great. But at the time, then it was just starting. It was just a very, very low tide, and so we felt like, whoa, this is something that we have to do. It has to be like this. It's gonna be so interesting, and everybody was praising for like one of the comments to the script that came very regularly was like, it's great that you have this character. It's so kind of unusual, which I don't know. For me, it's not unusual. I think that films I like are very often, held by women. But yeah, of course, it's true that probably if you are a reader of scripts and reader of sci-fi scripts, it's like it's not as common as I think it is. But yeah, so that was no brainer, and I really wanted that. And for her, I think the most important part of her arc is, kind of finding her freedom again, because she feels that she has failed, and that she has lost somebody who maybe she wouldn't have to lose, and now she wants to move on, but she really can't, or she's not really willing. She hasn't made that transition yet, because there is something unfinished, something left open in her, and she probably cannot like describe it, or she would say that that's not true, that she's over it. It's been some time, but everybody can see that something is, that she needs to deal with her past a little bit. And in the earlier versions of the script, uh, there was a big motif of there was a refugee young boy, like 9-year old boy, who was threatening her with a gun, and she was told that he has restore points, and she killed him. So she would save the situation. And then she found out that he is a refugee and he doesn't have those restore points. So it was kind of a burden as well that she was taking with her on the journey. But then, as the script got more and more precise, we felt that it is really hard to fulfill this arc, uh, because she doesn't have anybody to kind of complete the arc of, like, I don't know, having a child on her own, whatever is the way, or adapt. There are several ways how you can think about, like, what would work strongly emotionally within this setup. But we've been struggling with that a lot because her husband was missing, and so we actually realized that we have to focus on that this is the thing she has to solve in her life to move on, and actually by that, kind of uh, by the detective story, the storyline we have there, with River of Life movement, it actually very nicely tied together, and actually, her inner goal is her outer goal. So that was something that clicked, and suddenly we've been able to have our partners on the financial side to feel that the movie has its the arcs are there, and we can move on with towards the production. So the first part of the question, whether we had girls in the crew, like, yeah, of course. But I feel a little bit embarrassed. Like, we we realized that we have you know less girls in the crew than we thought we will have, or we expected it. And because I think what kind of works in the female empowerment movement that we are part right now is, like, the female directors are in a strong position, I think some email DOPs starting to, also get their kind of say. Uh, but then, there is this gap, and then you have the more traditional roles, like the costume designers, the makeup artists. Uh, but for example, I don't in my bubble, like I don't know many female sound designers, and it's just it would be amazing, or I really wanted to work with female editor, which is an option. Like there are amazing female editors, but then you have the co-production side, and you have to kind of use also some talent from road, and then it is more of a like political, like how many Oscars do they have and stuff like this. So you can get the movie financed. So I think there is still work to do in that department, um, and we just have to kind of wait it out a little bit and help it as much as we can. Because, but I think it is. I think it's a little bit. It's not necessary to push it externally, even though it doesn't hurt. But I think it's just you have to feel comfortable, even like as a director or whatever, to have them there, And I would love to have them there. I think it would make it much less sausage party, and much more open to different ideas and different point of views, and especially when you're making a movie with female protagonists, I think it would help the movie, but yeah, we suddenly find ourselves in a sort of situation where, well, we have this crew. The crew is amazing. There is few girls, but they're more like those traditional, or it's stupid to say, it doesn't matter, right? But yeah, we just realized that, wow, we feel that we are all from the generation that really, you know, takes girls as, like they are usually more clever than us. And still we ended up on this shore, in with like the director, DOP, and the architect, or the production designer, and we are three guys. But yeah, with the truth is that we had an amazing, production manager or the line producer for the movie for a very long time before, um, she had to move out from the country, so we had to switch, for somebody else. But really, who brought this movie up, to the living world, was incredible, incredible girl, and so that was, I think, that gave us that feeling that, oh, it's fine. Like we have this superpower, in here, and everything's okay. But then when she left the project, and we replaced her, with a guy, who also is amazing, but suddenly it started to feel like, oh, we are males doing a female movie. So it felt a little bit weird, but at the same time, at least we try to do our best and to you know discuss and consult the script, etc. And it's the main character in the movie is, it takes her time to open for the audience, and so you don't get to know her very well till some part of the movie. So that was probably a shortcut, how not to get into trouble too much. Yeah.